All right. Now, I'm about to say something that is fucking highly controversial and probably is going to make most of the people who subscribe to me or to my videos look at me as if I'm fucking psychotic. I'm well aware of this. That's fine. Just so long as I give you something to ponder. Here's a bit of thought crime for this day and age. As much as I don't agree with the guy, Hoover was fucking right. If we do not oppose communism in every form, in every place across the planet, it will destroy the United States. Now, before you says, but Blaine, that's not something so controversial. Hold your weast, because I'm about to blow your minds. Patton was killed for that same thought process. Hoover, the only reason why he wasn't ixnayed was because he was the top dude. There's a lot of people under him that were killed because they had that same thought process. Why do communists have to kill something that doesn't agree with them? Why do socialists have to genocide an entire group of people because they don't agree with them? Why is that something that's allowable when, vice versa, terms inversed, they would scream victimhood. Told you not to eat the charcoal, dog. Anyways. Why is it that it's necessary for us to step back and just allow this shit to happen? I'm just going to say it now. This has not been a free country since before the fucking Watergate scandal. Hell, since pretty much World War I. That's going to make a lot of people angry at me. Because they'll be like, no, that's not true. We had a free country. No, we didn't. We haven't had a fucking free country since the turn of the last century. The turn of the previous to last century. In other words, the entire last century was just a facade. And before you says, well, that's not true. We had freedom to vote. We had, freedom of expression and all this stuff. What's changed? You still have the freedom to go in and write your name down on a ballot and check off a box. You still have the right to say whatever the fuck you want to. Doesn't mean that you don't have that right particularly precludes you from being attacked for your opinions by these other cocksuckers, but I digress. You still have those rights. The only difference is that they are not protected by anyone else other than you. So the question remains, why do we allow these cocksuckers to destroy the country which we live in? And I'm going to really hurt some people's feelings here, because there's a lot of conservatives out there that are honest to God, the most fucking cuck-based people I've ever met. And there are a lot of liberals out there that are the most delusional motherfuckers I have ever seen. Now, let me point something out to you. I lived in Los Angeles, home of the Republican cuckold chair. And I was in a mental institution in both Ogden, Utah, or sorry, not Ogden. Well, yes, Ogden, Utah, but that's neither here nor there. Provo, Utah, and California. Fontana, to be exact. And Pineview. And Palmview. And fucking Los Angeles. And Torrance. And I can go on and on and on and on and on and on and on until I fucking get blue in the fucking face. Because my opinions are unfiltered, free, and they won't fucking be stopped. I will not stop saying this shit. I don't care. Honest to God, I've seen what actual crazy people look like. And let me tell you something right here and fucking now. The whole left wing, the whole thing about, going and screaming your fucking head off at people just because they're saying something you don't agree with, that is insanity. That is how those people in the nut wards would act. They expected everything to be for them. They expected something for nothing. They expected for their shit to not stink. They expected for people to just roll over and let them walk on them. It was an absolute fucking mindfuck for one of these cocksuckers who decided he was going to try and steal my fucking brownies off of my food plate one day. He ended up with a plastic fork sticking out of the back of his hand and going through the bottom. Because he tried to take my food off my plate. Now, I don't know if y'all know this, but there are two things in life that you do not fuck with. And I don't give a shit who the fuck you are. All right? You don't touch a man's food. And whatever the fuck you do, whatever you do, don't touch a man's gun. Two things we can all fucking agree on. Don't touch a man's food. Don't touch a man's gun. The wifey, it's kind of up to her to keep from letting people put hands on her as far as that's concerned. Yes, it's your duty to also beat that ass if she gets uppity about it. But, I digress. It's more of a situation of she needs to say something rather than just going with it. Because otherwise that's cheating. So anyways. Like I said, a little digression right there, but you get my drift. Don't touch a man's food. Don't touch a man's gun. Everything else, you can kind of get away with a little bit. There's some realm of understanding, but you touch a man's gun without his permission, without him actually fucking handing you the gun like, here, bro, go ahead and shoot it. You realize them's fighting words. That's literally, I disrespect who you are. I see you as lesser than, and I am God, and you do not get to be anything of a human being around me. You are a dog. You are less than a dog. That's what that says about someone. This is why when somebody goes to grab for my gun, it takes every shred of my being to not deck them in the fucking mouth. It takes everything of me to not turn around and just start wailing on a motherfucker. Mind you, the only people who have ever tried to take a gun off of me, specifically take the gun from me, are cops. That's a really bad idea to turn around and pop one in the mouth because he fucking grabbed your gun. Because he's, you're not under arrest, but you're being detained or what have you, what the fuck ever their spiel is. It's a really bad idea to pop that motherfucker in the mouth. Because you're probably going to get popped in the dome with a little piece of metal about yay long. So, probably smart to not. You know what I'm saying? This is why I said, it takes every fiber of my being to not turn around and just... Instead, just be like... What you don't realize is I'm biting the back of my lip really fucking hard. And I'm making that weird ass fucking smile with no teeth and just kind of... I'm biting the back of my lip really fucking hard. So I don't spit in your eye. Don't touch my gun. That's actually treason in the United States. You've taken somebody else's gun without, due process. Another thing. Don't touch men's food. Very simple, very straightforward. In the United States, you have to earn what you get. You don't just fucking get shit. It's not free. There's nothing fucking free in this country. Hello, come in Berlin. You have to earn it. That's how this works. There is no fucking free meals. You don't get free shit. It doesn't work like that. Those idiots who are getting so-called free shit don't realize the bill they're racking up. The bill that their body will have to fucking pay for, either upon their death or previous to it. That's how this works. If you are getting Social Security and you didn't put into it, if you are getting welfare and you didn't put into it, if you are getting anything that is based off of taxes and you're not putting into it, you are racking up a debt, and that debt counter is under your name. For those of you who are these fucking idiots out there that think that SNAP benefits are free, Medicare is free, Social Security is free, GR is free, fucking welfare, whatever the fuck you want to call it, is free. Any of these other fucking programs, WIC, fucking school for kids, what was it? Not school for school for K. All of that has a bill attached to it. Kind of like when you go to a restaurant and you order food and you eat the food. Believe it or don't, once you've eaten that food, you now owe money. You owe money for the value of the meal and the dining experience that you were there for, that you consumed. If you refuse to go there for and then pay for that, guess what? That bill doesn't magically go and is gone. That bill continues to float around your head like a bad fart. It's the same thing with Social Security. If you don't put in, you taking out creates debt. Now, all this bullshit I've heard about, the debt slaves and this, that, and the other, you don't understand what it means to be a fucking debt slave. I'm going to be abundantly clear. You think taxes and fucking having a job and fucking just, bills out the ass as being a debt slave? Sorry, no. Imagine not getting paid. Imagine being stuck behind bars where everybody else has to pay for your dumb ass because you committed fraud. You're going to get worked like a fucking slave. You might not get paid. You might get paid. It all depends. It depends on the facility you're being held in. You're probably not going to get paid. Anyways. And that's why I told him not to eat that charcoal, because that charcoal is the Kingsford brand. They put toxins in it. And so now he's going and puking his guts up, because guess what? Told you not to fucking eat the damn charcoal, jackass. It's not the right kind. I give you a different kind for a reason. Duh. Sorry. Anyways, I digress. Communists. Democrats. There's no difference. Republicans. Really ain't no fucking difference either. They're all politicians. Now, to quote Daniel Webster, why therefore would I go and discard one tyrant 3,000 miles away for 3,000 tyrants 1 mile away? For cannot a legislature diminish a man's rights as easily as any king? Yes, it is so that good men wish to rule goodly. They promise to be good masters, but they mean to be masters. They promise to govern well, but they mean to govern. If we should stand to arms, it should be to secure individual right, not to allow tyranny, not to allow oppression. If we should stand to arms, instead, it should be to provide those future securities, to stand against the oppression of tyrants. You know, Daniel Webster was a really brilliant man, and he had really, really good foresight. He understood that there are some things in this world that are worth giving up this short-term experience for. You know, you're going to come back anyways. You're going to experience more. It's just a matter of, it might be 100 years from now. It might be 500 years from now. You don't know. You don't get a choice in that part. That's why we cling so desperately to our existence that we have. But there are some things worth securing. There are some things worth fighting for. The destruction and dissolution of the rights of the people is not one of them. Bigger government is not one of them. Destruction of the liberties that we hold dear is not one of them. Ultimate power is the opposite of what we should be striving for as Americans. And don't let the beard fool you, by the by. That's just face fungus, man. That's all that is. This has no religiosity, no gravitas of any kind. It's just a beard. I am not Israeli. I am not fucking Saudi. I am not Islamic, Israeli, Jewish. Fuck, I'm not even Christian anymore. I wouldn't even call myself that because I'm against forcing someone to do something. I'm against that. Why? Because if you are forcing someone to do something, that is tyranny. It doesn't matter if, oh, well, there's this law that says that you must. Doesn't fucking matter. That's tyranny. That's the reason I don't fly. Yes, I don't like flying anyways because I know too much about airplanes, but that's beside the point. The real reason I don't fly is the TSA. Simply because I'm not going to have somebody shoving a fucking full fist up my ass to tell whether or not I have a fucking bomb shoved up next to my spine. Sorry, I don't have anything that goes up there. That motherfucker has a sign on it that says exit only. Don't know if you knew this, but that's the reason for a tramp stamp. It used to say enter here. Mine has never said that. I'm not one of these psychopaths that's going to shove some fucking PETN up my fucking asshole in order to blow up a plane. I don't do that shit. Sorry. Just not fucking impressed with it. I'd like to land, thank you. I want to die with my feet on the ground. It's kind of important to me. You know. Electricity being what it is and all that. I personally don't like flying at all. I mean, I'm not the one in control of the aircraft. I can't mitigate mistakes if, per se that, they happen. So I can't control my own destiny while in an aircraft. That's not to say I wouldn't fly an ultralight. I certainly would. I can control my own destiny in that fucking thing. I can't control my own destiny in a 747 in the passenger compartment. That's my issue with flying. My mainstay issue. The other issue is, I hate cavity searches. I'm sorry, but if you're going to be sticking that up in there, no. I refuse to be violated, thank you. There's a reason I don't fly. It has nothing to do with the no-fly list. I fucking don't care if I'm on it or not. You will never see me go into an airport for any other reason than to pick somebody up from the airport. Or to drop someone off at the airport. I hate TSA. And because I understand why TSA is there, I hate anybody for standing on that particular, for being that kind of tyrannical or terroristic fuck that wants to go out there and make everyone else's lives harder. I carry a gun because I'm sick and fucking tired of terrorists and bullies and gangbangers and every other fucktard that cannot understand. Leave that motherfucker in peace. If you can't get that concept of leave that man alone, you deserve the pill that's coming your way. You deserve that short drop and a sudden stop. I'm just going to be fair with you. You want your 72 virgins? That's the fucking fast lane. Fuck with the guy who just asked to be left the fuck alone. It's very simple. If you would like to continue breathing, Don't be a shitbird. I mean, it's not hard. This is not rocket science. It's not a concept that takes thousands of dollars and hundreds of hours to realize. It is literally a simple rule. Don't fuck with the quiet one. He wants to be left alone. And the reason why I find it as not just intrusive, but violatory to my very intellect is that I understand all of the pain involved. I understand the instance of death and how long it takes and all that fun shit. Do you think I want to fucking experience that? Thank you very much. No, motherfucker, I don't. I don't. This is why I do not fucking fly. Because the terror of impact. I mean, beyond the TSA and I don't like fucking being stuffed in a cabin with a bunch of fucking idiots that can't keep their goddamn babies from fucking screaming in my ear, and every son of a bitch on the fucking planet who literally can't fork out for 2 fucking seats in order to take on his fucking 500-pound ass. Sorry, go fuck your fat ass on a fucking bus somewheres, dude. I'm not impressed with it. I paid for my seat, not so that you could sit in my lap. I mean, it's not fucking rocket science here. It's called common courtesy. It's something that our entire planet has lost. We used to have it about 100 years ago. We lost it. 400 years before that, we also lost it before that. Another 1,200 years before that, we lost it. You see, this is a cycle. We lose our courtesy and then we gain our courtesy because rough motherfuckers have had enough of bullshit and they don't put up with it. Well, why are you putting up with it? I am courteous where I go. I try to be respectful of everybody. I see everything. Down to the absolute most minute micro expression. If you have this weird twitch where you suddenly look to the side, I see that. If you have this little tick like the old lizard man did, you know, I see that. And I cannot fucking look away. My mind sees it when I'm looking the opposite fucking direction. You cannot hide shit from me. Again, this is one of the reasons why I was so good at what I did. You know, getting information and shit. I can tell when somebody's fucking lying their ass off. It bothers me that I have to reiterate this over and over and over again instead of, you know, coming up with fantastical concepts, strange things, you know, ideals that might tickle the mind and make you want to try something new. I can't do that because I'm sitting here having to explain to motherfuckers that Zoran Mamdani is a fucking commie, and that bastard belongs in a fucking bonfire. There, I said it. And I stand on it. You can go to another country where they do have communism, or I don't know. Don't be in politics. It's pretty fucking fair and straightforward. But as long as you are trying to seize the means of production, to quote the motherfucker, you are a communist. As long as you are sitting there and telling people that we need to take away the money from the rich people who went out there and they earned it through their fucking deviousness and dastardly ways, whatever they may be, they still fucking earned it. In us going out there and saying, well, we can't let you have all this money, so we're going to take it away and redistribute your wealth. That's communism. The only people who are allowed to be rich are the state. Everybody else are the fucking peons. That's communism. And I don't know if you've noticed this yet or not, but this country teeters on the brink of that. Every single presidency. Every last one. And the reason why that's the case, why it teeters on that, is because there are certain stopgaps, certain measures, certain checks that balance and make that impossible. Presidents are not supposed to be kings. They have the ability to say no, not the ability to order yes. Presidents are not kings. They don't get any of that. Sorry, I'm slapping at Skeeters here. It's pretty bad. Governors and mayors and any fucking leader has to answer to the people who elected that man. Not to mention the rest of the people in that entire area that they are supposedly having control over. Let me just make a real quick newsflash for you. They don't control shit. They have the power of veto, which is the ability to say no. Not the power of, well, I'm signing this into law. No, that's not the case. They have the power of veto or non-veto, which is, I have the power to say no, or I have the power to stay fucking silent. It's the Congress and the and this is all the way down to the fucking localities, like your township or your neighborhood, what have you. Everybody votes. The leader, so-called, has the right to say, no, we're not going to do that shit. Or, okay, whatever. You guys chose this. It's not my fucking fault if it falls through. That's their options. They are fucking limited. It's the same way for the mayor as it is for the president. The mayor can't sit there and say, well, we're going to do this. You have to do this. I order this to happen. A mayor is not a dictator. He's an overseer. And he has the power of veto, not of the purse. The purse goes to the community itself. The people who are putting the money in dictate how that money may be spent. The person who is the community leader has the ability to say, no, that's not a good idea. I do not approve, And once you actually take a look at it, you will not approve. That's what the abilities of the president all the way down to the fucking mayors is. That's what the governor's abilities are. The governor can't sit there and order you to do something. They can suggest all the fuck they want. Matter of fact, I'm pretty sure I have a couple of letters from fucking Kotex of suggestions of how I might carry myself and do things. You know what I did with those? I burned them. Because that's how much I fucking feel about how somebody's suggestions are to me. You'd be better off screaming at the four fucking winds. Suggestions are not laws. This is the same fucking reason why when I was living down there in California, I would go rabbit hunting with a pellet gun. It wasn't illegal. It was suggested that you utilize a firearm or a slingshot or a bow. Not a pellet gun, but I used a pellet gun. And that pellet gun was more effective and more efficient than the slingshot or the bow or the firearm at short range. So, yeah. It wasn't illegal. It was just so-called immoral. Because what if? It's a what if situation. This is where ethical laws and ethical suggestions get thrown in there. What if? So, like, what if you hit the animal wrong and it starts screaming and suffering and slowly dying rather than damn near instantaneous? You know, flap over backwards, start kicking in the air. It's already been dead for a couple of seconds. It's those last nerves firing. No suffering versus suffering. That's what the ethics laws or the ethics rules, are about. And I'm going to try and make this abundantly clear to you. They are not laws in the sense that anybody fucking voted on them. I'm going to be abundantly clear with you. They're not laws in the sense that anybody voted on them. They were all kind of consensually agreed upon to the effect of, yeah, that's a shitty thing to do. The government went and said, okay, well, you all agree that's a shitty thing to do, so we're going to make it illegal. Completely disregarding physics. Physics doesn't give a flying fuck about your ethics. It doesn't care. Physics simply does what physics fucking does. You don't dictate shit after the initiation. You are the action. The outcome is the reaction. This is why hunting for rabbits with a pellet gun isn't illegal. It's just unethical. Because if you miss, if your gun's not fucking zeroed in perfect, if you get some sort of drift or you miscalculate the range or whatever, okay? And that animal suffers for longer than it takes for it to fucking drop over backwards and start kicking at the air. Well, the Karens get their panties in a bunch and the fucking fish cops come out and they go, well, that's illegal. And you have to sit there and actually point out to them, no, the ethics laws are suggestory. They are not binding. What is binding are these particular parameters, these particular realities that are in the fucking regs. You can't hunt animals, this particular animal, except in this particular time. You can't hunt without a license. You can't hunt with clubs. That's actually something that they don't allow you to do anymore because of the rabbit derbies out in the Midwest, but I digress. Because, again, a bunch of Karens got their panties in a wad and went and started complaining. Turns out that the farmers with clubs was a hell of a lot more effective and a lot more ethical than running around with a fucking 12-gauge shotgun and missing. And possibly hitting some other poor bastard. Or, for that matter, using poison. Which is highly unethical. It's not illegal, but it's highly unethical. In fact, it's more unethical to utilize poison than it is to use an air gun. A fucking Red Ryder BB gun is more ethical than rat poison. I'm just going to put that out there. And people can fucking sit there and browbeat me in the comments all you fucking want. All you're doing is just adding to engagement. That's fine by me. The reality of it is, those laws are suggestory. They are not binding. If it's a law that you can circumvent with a cash payment, it is a suggestion, not a directive. This is why the Second Amendment, the First Amendment, the Fourth Amendment, these are not fucking suggestions. They are directives. It used to be that if a politician in any way, shape, or form violated these rules, these particular directives, they would be carried out of their chambers, strapped onto the sharp edge of a rail. If you don't know what a rail is, that is a fucking 4x4 beam. All right? They would turn it sideways so that there's the angle pointing up. They tie your feet together with a freaking weight underneath, and they would walk your ass out on that rail over their shoulders and dump you off on the ground. Then they would pour hot tar over the top of your ass and have a pillow fight on you. It's called tarring and feathering. Being run out on a rail. That was the treatment that they came up with that was supposedly less harsh than just finding a tall old tree, throwing a rope over the top of it, tying a little loop in the end and going, "Hey, how's the view up there?" Like I said, skeeters are bad. So today, in this day and age, we don't react that way. I don't want to say gotten soft. I want to say we've become civilized unto self-deprecation. We refuse to stand to the duties that we are called to because the government said, well, because of the 29th Amendment or the 28th Amendment, we don't need to worry about all of this with, the militia and the responsibility of the people to stand to the so-called righteous union. We don't need all that. The government will take care of it. The government will watch itself. The government will oversee itself. The government will respond against tyranny in its own ranks, and the government will stop it. Now, we all know how that fucking worked out, right? Well, the Patriot Act really fucked us up the ass, didn't it? It was great for the moment where we needed it, where, oh yeah, okay, be able to hold a terrorist indefinitely while we figure out what the fuck is going on with these other sons of bitches. So that's one less piece of shit that's in the fucking mix of it. Maybe they'll give us some information, but they're no longer human beings, you know? Which I'm perfectly fine with. If you're going to go and you're going to try and murder a whole bunch of fucking people just because you have a distaste for that particular political leaning, then you need to be in that same place. Bye-bye. I'm not talking about murdering a bunch of people. I'm talking about putting them in their place. I'm talking about holding and adhering to the responsibilities that we have to hold our fucking representatives in check. And that is not just voting, by God. Who the fuck ever said, as far as our founding fathers are concerned, who the fuck ever said, well, if you don't agree with what we're telling you to do about our tyranny, then you just vote us out. And then when you vote the next person in, 4, 5, 10, 50, fucking 100 years down the road, because we are going to make it so that it's damn near impossible for you to vote after that certain point, then they can fix that. You could take the risk that they won't and be strung out for another however long. But you have to do this through voting. No, that's not the fucking case. As a matter of fact, it's actually put into the fucking Constitution. But when a long train of usurpations should reduce them under absolute despotism, it is their right, no, it is their duty to throw off such government and to provide for future securities. When they say throw off such government, they're not sitting there saying, oh, well, you know, just ignore them and they'll go away. They're not saying, well, we just vote them out of place and then vote in our next overlords and it'll be all right. No, they're literally saying, not one fucking step further, and if you do, I'm going to chop the foot off that comes over the line. That's what they mean by throw off such government. They mean, if you cross the line, you done fucked up. You are no longer government. You are an enemy to the people. You are a danger inherent to the community. You're not allowed to dictate to people what the fuck they may or may not do. I'm literally sitting here saying, look, you have the choice. This is a responsibility that you're supposed to adhere to, but you have the choice to ignore it. And so far, thus far I've seen, every single American since the 1940s has failed in that responsibility. Including my dad, including my granddad, including my mom and my sisters and my aunts and my uncles and my grandpas and grandmas and all of that. Every one of them has failed. I have failed in that responsibility. I'm speaking up, but that doesn't mean shit. Words are toothless without the reinforcement of the bitten tongue. Knowing when to hold your words in, when to use them, and also when to just fucking throw a swing. Quite literally. I'm sure I've made it so that people really fucking hate my guts right now because I'm saying all the things that you have failed to do. And that you hate about yourselves, about me. Fine. So long as it gets you thinking. Because I'm not going to be alive forever. You know? I'm not going to be able to sit here and continue to say this shit. One day I'm going to die. We all do. The question is my death going to mean something? Did I make my life worth something? Did I push for a different type of reform that would actually fix the problems? Or did I push for the type of reform that just says, fuck it, let's party like it's 1999 till the fucking goddamn balloon goes up, man? Sorry, but that's not okay. I don't have children. That doesn't mean that I'm not going to sit there and be like, look, for the kids who come after, what the fuck are we leaving them? You know, what are you doing to these people that they should have the ability to respond to someone trying to kill them with lethal fucking force? They should have the ability to defend themselves against a perceived threat. We don't allow them to because why? You know, I didn't become depressed to the point where I was actually contemplating a firearm. You know, like, at me. Until long after I saw that my vote didn't count, my voice didn't count, when I spoke out to people and pointed out these things that were blatantly obvious, I got shunned and I got thrown in fucking mental institutions because I was speaking and I was a young adult. Or, for that matter, a teenager, or for that matter, a child. Who just wasn't fucking blitzed out of my gourd to the point where I couldn't actually see what the fuck was going on. I've always grasped and held to reality. Even though I've been on, you know, when I was younger, I was on a lot of fucking mental health medications because I couldn't figure out what the fuck was wrong with me. Turns out, lo and behold, there's nothing wrong with me. I'm the next step of evolution, jackasses. I'm the fucking reason, my mental thingy is the fucking reason why we went from being chimpanzees with sharp sticks to hominids with sharp sticks that had sharp pieces of flint on the end, that went to hominids who wore steel around the outside of them and carried firearms. Autism. It is a curse, and I will grant you that. It is also a fucking superpower. I can do things that would astonish. I can understand what a dog is saying because I'm listening to the intonation. I'm listening to the timing of the beats. I'm listening to the formation of the words. Even though they don't have lips to form the words, they still use their throat to convey them. Kind of like a bird does. If you've ever heard a bird mimic a human word, you can kind of understand how dogs might be able to talk in English. They don't utilize their tongues and their lips and their teeth. They use their throat. It's always a way of talking like I can't hear any damn thing like I don't have any lips. That's dog for it's always like I'm talking but you can't hear anything because I don't have any lips. You notice the difference there. It's subtle, but you can understand the first one if you understand the words in the second one. They're the same thing. It's just one is spoken like a dog and one is spoken like a human. Because we have lips and tongue that articulate. Dogs don't. They have flues that allow them to smell better. That allow them to have minor control over food. It does not allow them to form words. The words are formed via a different method. The back of their tongue and their vocal cords, specifically, as well as their lower jaw. They don't use the front of their tongue like we do. The front of their tongue doesn't articulate like ours does because of one thing. That little tendon that holds underneath your tongue, that holds your tongue down. They can't do a breathe in to make a t sound, or a ch sound, or a p sound with their tongue at the back of their teeth. See, right there on the teeth, that t, that p. You see those two vocalizations that can't be made by a dog? A B sounds like a G. Instead of bye, they say good. That's a dog saying bye. It sounds like guy. Or really like just a vacant noise. If you're not listening, you won't understand it. It's the same concept with all sorts of different things. If you don't listen, you cannot understand the concept. This is why I can speak with dogs. I can speak with crows. I can speak with parrots. And I can understand each dialect. By the way, parrots actually do have a specific dialect that has nothing to do with how they speak. It's all here and head motion and wings and talons. That's how they talk. A dog, they use their head. They use their voice. I've heard dogs sing. I've heard dogs talk. What, Buzz? None. I can't, not right yet. Not done video. Non-done video. You're the best dolphin. Go on. Anyways, you're almost done with the video. You'll notice he's smarter than anybody I've ever spoken to. This dog knows more about physics than most folks know about physics. Than my mom knows about physics. Let that blow your mind. This dog knows more about everything than most people. He gets to sit there and listen to me watching the YouTubes and learning things. Basically kind of on repeat because people just beat a dead horse. I mean, it's kind of that, whack, whack, whack. What are you doing? Beating a dead horse. Whack, whack, whack. You know what I'm saying? Yes, I'm beating a dead horse and I'm also killing mosquitoes while I'm doing it. My point remains that dogs can understand what people say. And if a dog can understand what a person says, then why the fuck can't politicians and these fucking Antifa queers get it? Why can't they understand when someone who has an IQ of about 120, okay, which is actually genius for a dog, an IQ of 120 understands all of that. So, what? Do these people have a fucking IQ of 78? Really? Because if that's the case, we've got a lot bigger problems on our hands. And it comes down to the education. Isn't that right, dude? You're a smart hoodoo. He's a good boy. And he's a genius. This doggo's a genius. Yes, you is. And I'll give it to you in a second. Have the patience. Anyways, My point remains the same throughout all of this crap. We need to start stringing up communists because they are obviously complicit and knowingly so. They choose to stand on that. It is not a situation of an education as far as the communists are concerned. And if you don't believe me, take a close look at Zoran Mamdani. The motherfucker is literally a politician, a mayor, the head of fucking New York City, and he's a commie. So again, tell me how the fuck I'm supposed to fix that. Just saying, there are some measures that we have not been standing to that we should be. Y'all be good. This is Yo Guardsman. Motherfuckers, I'm out.